Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into an essential topic for anyone working with IT automation, that is the Ansible inventory. Here in Packet Coder's website you can find my blog about the beginner's guide to the Ansible inventory. You can search it by choosing the Ansible tag on the Packet Coder's website, and you can read it from the top to the bottom about this topic. Whether you're automating a small network or a large scale deployment, a solid understanding of inventories can make all the difference. Here at the first part, we have a brief introduction about the Ansible and about the roadmap that we want to explore on this blog post. So first of all, let's see what is an inventory. In Ansible, the inventory is the who of your automation. It's a collection of hosts and all the connection details Ansible needs, things like IP addresses and maybe authentication credentials. This information lets Ansible connect to the right devices and apply the tasks defined in our playbooks. As you see, we have some words that we want to explore in further. Things like playbooks and other things. So, up to this point, we can say that Ansible inventory lets Ansible connect to the targeted devices that we want to apply our configurations. As you can see here in this section, we have a brief details and explanations about the inventory in Ansible. Here in the next section, in this blog post, I wrote about types of Ansible inventory, things like static inventory or dynamic inventory. Let's continue. As you see, there are two main kinds of inventories, static and dynamic. A static inventory is just a file you maintain manually. It lists all your hosts and how they are grouped. And we can say that it's ideal for smaller and stable environments. And a dynamic inventory is generated on the fly from external systems like NetBox, Notobot, CMDBs, or other APIs. This is great for large or frequently changing environments because it updates automatically. A quick comparison between the static and dynamic inventory is that we can say static inventories require manual updates, while dynamic inventories pull data live and scale much better. As you see here, we can say that we can define static inventory formats to the two groups, INI format and YAML format. So let's talk about static inventories. There are two common formats, as I said, INI and YAML. In an INI file, you can organize hosts under section headers in square brackets. For example, you might have groups like, as you see here, core routers, access switches, and firewalls. And as you see, we organizing hosts under section headers in square brackets, each listing their devices with variables such as Ansible host and Ansible network OS. You can also create nested groups like network devices, as you see here, that include multiple groups at once. For example, here we have core routers, access switches, and firewalls. In YAML format, as you see here, YAML offers a more structured format and is easier to validate in CI/CD pipelines. The same inventory could be defined under a top-level all key, as you see here, with child groups like core routers, access switches, and firewalls, each listing their hosts and any group variables. A separate network devices group then lists the child groups, as you see here in this YAML format. But as we go further, we have dynamic inventories that can be done with things like NetBox. If you are using NetBox as your source of truth, you can set up a dynamic inventory. The steps look like this. For example, at the first part, you need to install the NetBox Ansible collection, as you see here. Then you can export your NetBox API URL and token as environment variables, and then you can create a YAML configuration file such as nb_inventory.yaml, this kind type format that specifies the plugin and the API details. You can also filter devices by site and group them by things like device role or type. This is the example configuration of nb_inventory.yaml. We have a plugin here. We use Ansible.net common.netbox. This is our API endpoint. For example, netbox.example.com. This is our API token for NetBox. For example, here we have your NetBox API token. Here, some options like validate search, we put false here. Then we filter the devices by site and group them by things like device role or device type. A more advanced example might pull the token from the environment, enforce SSL validation, and maybe include NetBox configuration contexts, group devices by roles, remove prefixes from group names, compose custom variables like Ansible Network OS, and filter by criteria such as having a primary IP and belonging to a particular tenant. Once our dynamic inventory is configured, we can, for example, view the inventory as a graph by using the related command, or we can run a playbook against it with the related command. The Ansible inventory tool also lets you list all hosts and variables with --list or view a tree structure with --graph option. The --list option gives detailed JSON output, while --graph focuses on hierarchy and is easier to read, as you can see, for example, in the running the dynamic inventory section. Once the configuration file is created, you can run the dynamic inventory with the following commands. For viewing as a graph for our inventory structure, we can use this command, ansible-inventory-I. We mentioned our inventory, nb_inventory.yaml, that we saw here in this section. And after that, we use the switch --graph. And also we can run an Ansible playbook using the NetBox inventory by this command, as usual playbooks that we are going to run. Sometimes we need to run a playbook on just a subset of our inventory. Here we have some kind of options like the --limit option. that lets us do exactly that. We can target a single host, a whole group, or multiple hosts and groups. We can even exclude hosts or groups using the exclamation mark operator or match names with wildcards. Also, inside our playbooks, we have the hosts keyword that tells Ansible which group or hosts to run tasks on. For instance, if you set hosts to core routers, it will target every router in that group. And as you see here in this table, we have a comparison between these two options, list and graph. In list option, the output format is JSON, and in graph we have a tree structure. And if we want a detailed output, including host variables, we can use the -- list option. Or if we are focusing on hierarchy, we can use the -- graph option. We can use list for maybe somehow debugging, or maybe when we want to inspect variables, or sometimes we want to check out and view the relationships between groups and hosts. We can use the -- graph option. And as you know, the tree structure is easy to read at a glance. We can check it out and read it so easily. But for -- list, maybe we need to JSON parsing. At the end, we can say that understanding the Ansible inventory is crucial to getting the most out of Ansible by mastering both static and dynamic inventories, choosing the right formats, integrating with tools like NetBox, and using command line options effectively. You can streamline your automation workflows. And at the end, this is the table that summarizes the various ways that you can use the -- limit option. For example, for limiting to a specific host, for limiting to a specific group, for limiting to multiple hosts, and any other part of this. If you found this helpful, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more automation tips. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.